Hi guys, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make this asymmetric dress. It has a collar and also side pockets. So let's get started with the tutorial. Now to make this dress, you'll be needing two basic blocks. You need to know how to draft the basic bodice and also how to cut a half circle skirt. So let us start with the bodice pattern. Now I'll be dropping in the description box the link on how to draft a basic bodice so that you know how we arrived at this. Now my pattern paper is already folded. This is the edge of my fold, and I've drawn my shoulder, chest and waistlines. Okay, so just watch the tutorial on the basic bodice. You will get a better understanding. Okay, and now on the shoulder and the chest line, I have marked half of my across back measurements. Okay, and I've linked that with a straight line like so. Then I'm going to be marking the length of my sleeve. I'm going to work with 8 inches. You can increase yours, but at least 8 is fine. So I'm going to mark 8 inches for the length of my sleeve. Okay, and I'll mark the same thing on the chest line because the dress is a doorman dress. A doorman dress, the sleeve is cut together with the bodice. Okay, and I'll be joining that together because the sleeve is cut together like I said. Alright, then on the waistline. Okay, now for the waistline, you want to use your shoulder to waistline measurements and probably subtract about 1 inch because we're going to be adding a little band to that. So you want to make sure that your half length is not too long. Now on the waistline, I'll be marking quarter of my bust circumference. Yeah, I said bust. Then I'll link that to the sleeve opening. Okay, I had bust circumference because the dress has little pleats. Now you come down from the chest line about 1.5 inch. Okay, because for dresses that the sleeve is linked to the bodice, it has to have enough allowance, to be able to move your hands. Now I'm going to link that point to my waistline. Okay, so from here I'll just draw a slight curve like so, and then into the end of the sleeve opening like that. I can now use draw the curve more to be more pronounced. Okay, so meanwhile for the neckline, you're going to draw your desired neckline. So I'm going to be marking 4 by 4 inches. If you want it more wide, you can increase it. There is no fixed neckline for that, but I won't cut it out yet. Now I want to mark my shoulder slant 1 inch like so. Then I will connect it to the tip of the neck quilt like that, but I'm not drawing the neckline out yet. Okay, so this is my shoulder slant. Okay, so I'm going to cut out. Meanwhile, this is going to be used as my both front and back pattern. Yeah, okay, so here we are. Now you open up the pattern like this. We are going to create the off shoulder part now. Okay, I'm folding the paper back first, to see what I've done properly. Now the folded part is my center front. I'm going to come down by 4 inch, which is my neck depth. Like I said, if you want to show more cleavage, you can come down. So my neck width and depth is 4 inches. Okay, so I want the off shoulder to be on this side. Okay, now I'm going to come on from the shoulder line by 2 inches or 2.5 inch. I really don't want mine to be too off. If you want it to be very off, like very off, you can come down more than that. Then from the across that line, the across back line, I'm going to mark 1 or 2 inches away. So I'm going to link the neckline from here to the center front, okay, then to the point where I came down by 3 inches, and then back to the shoulder line, okay, to give us the asymmetric look or the off shoulder look. So you can just use your hand first, okay, because the curve is not a regular curve. You can use your hand first just to trace it out with a pencil, please, so that you can clean it if the curve is not very okay, like that. So I can use my curved ruler now to make the curve more accurate, like that. Okay, so this is it. I came down my 3 inches on the shoulder line, and I extended the off shoulder by 2.5 inch. You can see I've written that. Okay, so mind you, I didn't want mine to be too off. Okay, so here now I want to cut facing for the bodice. I've placed another pattern paper under. I'll just trace out the neckline. Did I say facing? Sorry guys, collar I meant. I'm sorry, collar. It's still the same process. So I'm just tracing out the neckline. Okay, then you want to mark where the shoulder ends and also this part of the off shoulder, and just label it so that you don't mix them up, you know. Yeah, so this is it. So once you trace out, okay, make sure you mark the endings, the shoulder end and the off shoulder endings. You take off the bodice pattern, then you're going to mark the width of the collar. This is optional. I'm doing 3.5 inch. You know, the thing with all these styles is you don't have to follow dogmatically. Yeah, if you notice some of my tutorials, I always do some slight alterations. You don't have to follow dogmatically, like do it same thing. Okay, just get the basic principle. Now I've marked this 3.5 inch round, and this is the part for the off shoulder. Then for the off shoulder part, there's a slight extension. So just extend like that, and then just extend probably by 2 inches, 3 inches, depends. Like I said, just get the technique. You don't have to follow dogmatically. So I'm just going to link here together. It's my ruler, the straight part, so you can see the extension. Okay, so I'm going to be transferring this to my fabric too. I'll be adding inches, similar ones round. Okay, so I've cut out the bodice and my collar. So for the collar, I have 4 pieces. 2 will be joined together, so it will start running from the off shoulder in front all the way to the back. Then the other 2 will also serve as a lining. Okay, and then this is my bodice. Okay, I hope we understand. Yeah. So, and I also added 1/2 inch seam allowance around my bodice, except for the side seam, which is 1 inch. Now let us go to the skirt tutorial. For the skirt, it's a half circle skirt because the frills are not so obvious. So you fold your fabric like a triangle on bias. I hope that is clear. Yeah, you fold your fabric in form of a triangle, then you calculate the radius of your skirts. So yeah, now to calculate the radius, you divide your waist circumference by 3.14 because it's a half circle. Divide your waist by what? 3.14. Whatever you get is the radius. So I've calculated mine. Mine is about 10 inches. So from the apex of the triangle, I'm marking the radius of my skirts. Whenever you're cutting any circle, whether it's a skirt, a sleeve, all you do is, where you're placing the circle, you divide that length of the circumference by 3.14 for a half circle, please. So after you've marked the radius, from the curve of the radius, you start marking the length of the skirt. Okay? And the length of the skirt, you just, to get the length, you subtract the length of the bodice that you already cut out from the total length of the dress. I just hope I'm making sense. So I'm just marking the length of my skirts. Okay? So first I will cut out my radius here. So it is from here you're going to mark the length of the skirt. Yeah. I would have done a tutorial on half circle, but I think most people already know it. But if you want me to do a tutorial, I can still do it. Just indicate in the comment section. So this is my half circle. So you'll be cutting two. If you notice, I didn't fold the fabric twice. If you're cutting a half circle, there's a way you can fold it that you cut the skirts and to have just one single joining. But this skirt has pockets, so that's why I cut two of it. Okay, so let's go to the sewing now. Yeah, really quick. So I would go ahead and join the shoulder with 1/2 inch and the off shoulder part with 1/2 inch. Let me do that. And then this is my collar. I'll be joining two pieces together where you have the shoulder. Okay, so one will serve as lining, one will serve as fabric. Okay, so I've joined my bodice together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then this is my collar here. So this is how it's going to look. This is the joining at the shoulder there. And then I'll go ahead and okay, yeah, this is it. Meanwhile, you know the collar has a lining, so you can see. So I'll go ahead and join the lower part of the collar, fabric and lining together. The lower part, the upper part will be sewn to the neckline of the body. So we're joining just the lower part like this with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay. This tutorial is not exactly for beginners. Yeah, it's a bit not complicated, but it has a lot of tiny details here and there that could be quite overwhelming for beginners. Okay, then I've also cut out a band that will be attaching to the sleeve opening. Okay, so you just measure the length of the sleeve opening. The width of my band is 2.5 inch with seam allowance added already. So this is one of the sleeve opening on my bodice. I'll be adding the band like this. Okay, 1/2 inch seam allowance has been added to both the bodice and the band. Yeah, and the other side too. So here, good. I've turned my collar. Here it is. So as a guide, just know that this slanted part is added to the off shoulder side, and this is the joining on the shoulder. Can you see? It's pretty easy actually, just take your time. Okay, so I would be adding the collar to the neckline, but in a reverse manner. Okay, like this, you'll be sewing outward, not inward. You can see the way I place the collar. I place the collar on the wrong side of the neckline. So I would be sewing outward, not inward. Okay, then same thing all the way to the back. So it will end here. It's going to end here. Then for this part here, this slanted part that lands on the off shoulder, you just stitch it down a bit with about like 1 inch. Okay, just stitch it down. 1/2 inch seam allowance is fine. Then you add it to the neckline. So here we are, almost finished with the bodice. This is my collar. This is the slanted part. Okay, and you can see where I sewed the collar. So you want to use your overlocker to lock the rough edges. Now you're now going to cut out a band for the waist. Actually, the band is longer. I've not reduced the excess. Okay, the band should be half of your waist circumference measurements. Meanwhile, on the waist of the bodice, we use the bust circumference, which means it's more than the waist circumference measurement. So what you do is we're gonna make it like 2 or 3 pleats. Okay, look at the style very well. Two or 3 pleats. Then by the time you do that, you have your waist measurements back. Same thing for the back. So like I said, this band on the table presently, I have not removed the excess. That's why it looks equal with the bodice. I'll be reducing that later anyway. So I've joined the band to the bodice. You can see my pleats. Okay, just 1 or 2 pleats. I've joined it back. So technically we're done with the bodice. Let us go to the skirt. Okay, So for the skirts, first thing first, the skirt has a pocket. Okay, so I have a piece of fabric. I'll be placing that piece of fabric under my skirt like this on one side. I want to cut the pockets. Okay, so I've placed my skirt under the fabric like that. Then remember, now I'm going to measure down. That's the depth of my pocket. It actually depends on you, actually, the depth, how big you want the pocket to be. So I'm marking about I think 9 or 10 inches there. Okay, then I'm just going to cut out. If you don't do it like this, the pocket will not align with the skirt. I'm going to cut out that excess I have there. So you have to make the pocket blend with the skirt. It's not a straight skirt, it's flare, so it has to blend. Okay, so next thing, on the waistline, you're gonna mark the width of the pocket, but the width should be at least 2 inches away from the center front, at least, no matter how big you want to be. Okay, so I'm also going to cut out the excess. You know, there's the fabric on them. I'm cutting out the excess like that. Okay, like good. Then I'm just clipping where the pocket is going to end there. So you can see that the fabric has already taken shape of the skirt under. So from here, I'll just sketch out my pockets. I know you might not see what I'm doing, but at least you can, you know, see that I'm drawing the shape of a pocket. Okay, so here, this is the shape of my pocket, like that. Like I said, on the waistline, make sure the pocket stops like 2 inches before the center front. So this is my pocket. Okay, now I will be cutting 3 of this more, because you need 2 of these on both sides of the skirts. Okay, so this is 2 pieces for this side of the skirt. I'm going to be placing it under the skirt like this. Now we're going to create the pocket opening. Remember, we have 1 inch seam allowance on the side seam on the fabric already, so you have to remove that 1 inch first. Then I'll just mark about 2 inches aside the seam allowance, so altogether that's like 3. Then the pocket opening, okay, you come down about 5 or 6 inches. Then I'll mark that. The marking should be before the seam allowance, please. There's 1 inch seam allowance on the side seam. Take note of that. So you can see the way it marks my pocket opening. Okay. Then just link it out to the side seam like this. Okay, so I'm taking off this away for now. The pocket opening will be on the first piece we cut out, which is the pocket facing. Okay, so I am going to cut out, but I'll be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance to that again, meaning I'm not cutting on that original line I just marked. I'll be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can see that I'm adding my seam allowance already. Yeah, assuming this was on pattern paper now, we can say we'll add seam allowance when we're cutting on fabric, but this is fabric already, so you have to take note of all that. And then see the way I'm cutting it, like so. Okay. Okay, good. So that's the pocket opening. Then you can now place the second piece under like this. Good. So the second piece, which is a pocket bag, is gonna, make up for the parts that we cut out. So I'll be doing the same thing on the other side. Now I'll just fold my skirt into 2 like that, so that I can also cut out the pocket opening for the other side of the skirt. You don't need to do any calculations again. Just fold the skirt and then cut out like this. So you can see that the pocket opening is less than the length of the pocket itself. I hope we're not confused. I just hope so. Okay, so we're gonna go to the sewing part now. This is this set is for one side, and I have another set for the other side. Okay, now let us go to the sewing of the pockets. Okay, so we're going to place okay, now I think I've mixed the patterns up. Oh, okay, sorry guys, sorry I mixed it up. The other piece is for this side of the skirt, sorry. Okay, so now I'm going to take my pocket facing like this. You can see right side facing right side. Then I also have an inch here. Then when I get to the side seam, I'll sew 1 inch inward like that, outward, I beg your pardon. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. This is the second one for the other side. I'm going to place it like that, okay, and do the same thing. Okay, so I'll finish sewing. Make sure you top stitch the seam allowance to the facing, okay. Then this is the second piece. You place it like this, and then you're going to sew with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, now I'm mixing up the patterns again. Oh, it's not actually talking and talking. You can get confused at times. Oh, okay, sorry. I was supposed to turn the skirt to the wrong side. Sorry, guys. So sorry. Yeah, it's like this. You flip over the facing to the right side like this. Yeah. I got overwhelmed a little, so I mixed up the patterns. Okay, so here. Now this is the second piece. You will place it like that. So the second piece, the right side will face the right side of the pocket facing like this. Can you see? Then I'll go ahead to my sewing machine and stitch down the facing and the pocket bag without the skirt with 1/2 inch seam allowance like that. Here to 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way to the top. Please don't stitch on the skirt. Okay? Okay. So I think our pocket is ready. Yeah. You can see that I didn't stitch it to my skirts. Just separately like that. Okay. And meanwhile, all this drama is on the front part of the skirt. So you just pin the pocket to the waistline. Just pin it down till you finish sewing, so that you don't, make a mistake when attaching it to the bodice. Okay, now I'm going to get the bodice. Okay, now this is my skirt. You can see the pockets, very nice and clean, well blended to the circle skirt. You can see. Okay, so we're going to be attaching this one with the pocket to the front bodice. Now this is my back. You can see that the back is plain. Okay, so this will be attached to the front bodice. Okay, and the second one to the back skirts, not bodice, I beg your pardon. Alright guys, I've done that already. So we'll be concluding the tutorial now. On one side of the dress, you're gonna sew that with 1 inch side seam allowance. Then on the second side, there has to be an opening for you to be able to wear this dress. Okay, on the second side, you're gonna sew up to this point and then add a zipper. Okay, and the zipper should at least cross the line where you have the pockets. Okay, yeah. Now the original style, there's actually a zipper at the back, but I didn't want to zip at the back. That's why I told us that for all these styles you don't have to copy dogmatically, you can just change it. Okay, so I'm placing my own zipper at the side. Then you use your bias tape to turn the hemline of the dress, and basically that's all. This is my pocket. You can see my zipper. If you like, you can change the skirt to a full circle. It depends on you. You don't have to copy like directly. Okay, so I'll be showing you the one I made now. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave your reaction. Give us a like. Share. And very importantly, turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out of any of our tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.